Okay, happy Wednesday, everyone. I am Christine Kidder-Graves, marketing career coach, and I'm really excited for today's conversation with Darcy Bevilacqua, another career coach who specializes with marketing leaders as well. Darcy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Darcy Bevilacqua. I'm the career coach for marketing and sales executives. Mostly I focus on the more senior people, so age 50 plus, and I'm helping them either to step up in their own careers to take a more senior position or help them look for other alternative careers when they've decided that they're heading in the wrong direction or because of COVID, they've lost their jobs.
Great. Awesome. That's terrific. And we are here today. We're going to be sharing our top 10 tips for job seekers right now to help you land your next ideal role. And I'm going to take 5 tips, and Darcy is going to take 5 tips. And we may have some overlap too, and that's totally fine. But we really want to help you to have work that works for you. That's really important. So anyway, I'll go ahead and kick it off, and we'll just go back and forth, kind of like a tennis match. So anyway, my first thing, and I posted about this yesterday in my poll, and my poll runs through Friday morning, and I invite you, if you are watching this right now, to vote in my poll. And it's regarding mentors and your personal board of directors. So that's my first tip, that when you decide to launch your job search, before going right to your resume and updating it, go to your board of directors, talk with them, consult with them, and also your mentor and your connections who are in your corner, the people that are references for you. Talk with them about it and what you want to do, and listen to what they have to say. Darcy, what would you say for your tip? Or if you wanted to make comment on what I said too, of course.
So I actually agree. I do think it's very important for you to understand the people who are closest to you are going to be more likely to tell you where you're off track or where you're on track, where strangers who don't know you well enough really can't give you that kind of feedback. So I agree that understanding who you are and how you create that kind of information is really helpful to everybody.
It is. It's extremely helpful. So, all right, excellent. All right, why don't you give us tip number 2?
So tip number 2 is really understand your value proposition. And so you can articulate it clearly. And when I ask people what their value proposition is, they tell me about their jobs, or they just kind of wander around and say all kinds of their basic skills. But what you want to do is think through, how do I apply my skills in a way that they create value in an organization? Because when a company or institution is hiring you, they want you to bring value to them. So the idea should be the emphasis on how you bring value to the organization, not I'm so great, I'm so wonderful, I'm so smart, I have all these degrees, blah, blah, blah. It should be focused on the results that you're able to provide and how you provide them and what makes you great at doing this. And if you don't know, one of the ways to find out is to interview your friends and associates and start to ask them, how do I bring value to this organization? And that will help you more clearly articulate your value to others.
Yes. Yeah. That is very important. And it does, I mean, anytime a job opening exists, there's a problem. That every position that exists in an organization, there has to be a financial justification for it. There has to be a return on investment. And they need that person to be responsible and to handle certain aspects. And that's where you come in. As a candidate, you have to show how you're the solution to their problem. Like exactly what you said, Darcy. What's the value that you bring as the solution to their problem? So yeah, you hit it right on the head there. So perfect. Okay, so I guess I'm up with number 3, which kind of flows right into what you were saying. And mine is know your brand. So it goes back to your value. What is your brand? And, I think when we think of brands, like when you think of those big brands like Apple and Martha Stewart and Tiffany and Nike. It's like you have there's images and feelings that come to mind, and the feelings especially. So really think about your brand as a person, and that goes back to, that's why your connections, your network, and your mentor, they should help you with your brand. If you're not clear on your brand, and a lot of people are not clear on their personal professional brand, if you're not clear, go back to your connections and the people that know you the most, and especially your old bosses, because you reported to them directly. Maybe even go back, if you saved any of your performance reviews. I'm putting my HR leadership hat on for you. So go back to your performance reviews and think back to why you received those promotions. Why did you get those pay increases? Now, granted, our future ahead of us has so much potential versus what we did in the past. So that's huge possibility, but you need a starting point. And if you're not clear on your brand, then you're not going to come across the way you want to come across, and your value will not come across to potential employers.
And you also
Darcy,
look like everybody else. And one of the ways not to get hired is just to look like all the other 100 candidates who are applying for the same job. So you want to show how you're unique. And by being able to show your uniqueness and how you do that, you'll stand out from the rest of the crowd.
Yeah. And so many people too, like you said earlier, you need to have a specific examples. That's important, like quantitative examples of how you solve problems. That is extremely helpful in stories.
I'd agree. Stories and stories with results, not just
communicating your value.
Yes.
So, yeah, absolutely. All right. So you are on to number 4, right? Yeah.
So my fourth tip would be network all the time. People only start to network when they're looking for a new opportunity, and that is a mistake. You should always be networking. And the reason for networking is a two-way street. You're trying to get to know more people in your industry, more people around your career, and get to know them well. So if you just network when you need something, it isn't nearly successful as if you've been building your network for a long, long time. So even if you're very happy in your job and you think things are going well, you should still be networking, because you never know who's going to be able to help you. And usually your best help is not necessarily your first degree connections, it's your second degree connections. And the way you get to them is somebody you know knows them. And that's how you get introduced. But the reason that second degree connections are so valuable to you in the long run is because they have different networks than you do. And that will help you increase the number of people and the number of opportunities you get exposed to. And to some extent, finding a new career opportunity is a numbers game. So the more that you find people that are not exactly like you, but are slightly different, the more you increase your opportunities of finding something that would be a really good fit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think that is right on the money as well. So yeah. And I think that flows into my next one, which is know your target. Know the target opportunities that you're going after, because you need to have like a ideal job description. Like, look at job postings, do research, and look at those positions, those job duties that you really want to do. What really lights you up? What do you feel? How would you be using your value proposition? Again, getting back to that problem solving. So, but you need to have at least one ideal job description that you're going after, like what fits what you're looking for. And then also too, from there, looking at companies, like what kind of companies would you like to be a part of? What industries are you interested in? What corporate cultures would fit in with your work style? Not everyone wants to work remote. Remote is the big thing right now, but some people prefer hybrid. Some people want to be in the office all the time. Everybody is different. And that, I think that really fits into a company's culture too. So yeah. So again, really know your target. If you don't have a clear target, how are you supposed to hit it?
Or how are you supposed to even ask other people to help you find it? If you don't know what you're
Exactly.
looking for, it's hard to find it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You reminded me of, like, I make new connections every day. And that's how you and I met, actually, was
That's
in my
right.
outreach to make new connections. And I remember someone, a marketing leader I talked with, and he had this one pager that was like a graphic that really described what he was looking for very well. And he was sharing it with his connections so they would get it right away, because we have to help people to help us.
That's right.
We can't expect them to know, to read our mind and know instantly, So I thought that was a great thing that he did. So that's why I'm sharing it with our audience too. That's another thing that you could do to help people really get what you're looking for in your next position. And that's part of, if in order to always be networking, you really want to use your time and your effort well, and help others to be able to help you. So
That's right.
So yeah. Okay, my next one is manage your mindset. And
No, I need, I want to do the next one, which would be number 6, which is have a growth mindset.
Yes.
And so a growth mindset means, instead of being fixed that everything is the way it is and you just have to learn it, you have to have a growth mindset, which means whatever I put in front of me, I can learn and I can do, because the world is constantly changing now. And so whatever you used to do, even if you were excellent at it, there's a good chance that the skills that you're going to need in the future may not look that much like the things you did in the past, because the world is constantly changing. So you have to change with it. And by having a growth mindset that says, I can learn new things, I can apply new things in different ways, I can be open to new ideas, I can see the world in a different way, it will set you up for more future success. The more you get locked into, I know how to do this, I've been doing it for 10 years, I've been successful doing it this way, I'm going to keep doing it this way, the more you limit your future opportunities. So most of you are extremely smart and you can always learn new things, but you have to remember, when you run into something that you're not familiar with, that you need to stop, listen, and figure it out and ask questions so you can learn a new thing and you can apply those to your future, because it's highly unlikely that any of our jobs will be the same 10 years from now as they are now. And if you don't have a growth mindset or aren't open to learning new ideas, you are probably going to limit your career opportunities significantly, and it really isn't in your best interest.
Yeah, a growth mindset is the perfect tool to combat challenges in your job search, and everyone can use it. Everyone can use it. However, I have heard, and there is a sense of age discrimination for a lot of job seekers that are, of a certain age. And also too, that's the largest group. I've heard attorneys say the largest group that is discriminated against is those that are 40 or older, because it's the largest group, and it's not really talked about as much as it should be. And it shouldn't be happening. It needs to stop, but it's going to be there. I think, me coming from the recruiter world too, recruiters, they are looking at you and they're like, are you really going to be excited about this? Are you going to stay? All of that. So there's those questions and concerns, but having a growth mindset is just a perfect way to come into a company or to interview with them and really give them examples of how you have a growth mindset, and how you're not overqualified. You're not going to be bored because you're always looking for new things. You're always looking for how you can be invaluable in your role. So that's important. Okay, cool. So my next tip is managing your mindset. It goes right along kind of along with what you were saying,
Mhm.
I'm coming at it too from how a job search can be a roller coaster. It has its highs and its lows. And it's important to take care of your mindset to really, almost like it's a garden. You want to make sure that if there's any weeds that are starting to grow, that you pull them and that you're taking care of your tomato plants and your other plants that you have growing in the garden. And it's something that we need to do intentionally. So taking breaks, making sure that you're giving yourself breaks, that you're getting exercise, that you're taking care of yourself, because that all goes into your mindset too. If you're not feeling good, if you're not getting good sleep, then that's going to show up in having more negative thoughts. And you really want to shine when you have that, when you finally you do all this work to get that conversation with that hiring manager who can bring you on board, who can make you an offer. You want to make sure that you're at your very best, and that comes across through managing your mindset.
I agree. And the only thing I'd add to managing your mindset is I honestly think if you're a full-time job seeker, that you should be doing something to give to others, because one of the most
Mhm.
difficult parts of being a job seeker full-time is there's a lot of frustration in the process and you start to feel negative about yourself. And if you're involved in your community and doing something for others, you're getting positive feedback that you're a valuable human being. And that can sustain you on the days where you're having a lot of frustration or things aren't going well, to remind yourself that you're a good person, that you have a lot to contribute to the world, and that people really do love you and value you. So being able to do something for other people will help you do that. And it could be something as simple as, petting dogs at your local shelter so that they get adopted more easily, or singing in your local choir, or doing a favor for a neighbor. But all those things will give you positive reinforcement so you feel good about yourself as a human being, which will make the process just a little bit easier in order to achieve your goal.
Yeah, and that's another great way, by volunteering somewhere. That's a great way to meet new people and to make some new connections. You never know. It's like you should always be networking, because you never know when you might hear about a potential opportunity.
That's right. So my
So,
next tip would be always be learning something new. And the reason for always be learning something new is because the world is constantly changing. And when you talk to people and you want to have a conversation, you want to have something interesting to contribute to the conversation, more than I'm just looking for a job, which kind of gets old school. So always be trying to learn something new, whether, it could be in our industry, it can be, what do you know about the metaverse? Or what do you know about NTFs? Or what do you think is going to happen with the new privacy legislation? Or how is cryptocurrency going to impact how things are doing? Or how is Apple's new idea in terms of buy now, pay later going to impact how people are buying at retail? So there's plenty of new things to learn in our industry every day. Do yourself a favor, read the industry publications and be learning the new things so you have something interesting to talk about, something to keep your mind actively going, and you look involved in the industry and you look enthusiastic about where the profession's going and what we're all going to be interested in. And you present yourself as somebody that can be a person who's going to be flexible and be able to change with the times.
yes, yeah, that's great. And you reminded me of a book that I should share in the comments. But you reminded me of, like, Barbara Walters. Why was she such a great interviewer? She asked questions of people. She really was a good listener and asked excellent questions. And that's about always be willing to learn something new. And when really get to know people, like, ask them, because everyone that crosses your path probably has something that you don't know about, that they can share something that is new for you. And so kind of take it with that learner's mindset and really try to get to know them and, like, build a connection with them, and just share experiences. It's all good. So,
Okay.
okay, cool. Awesome. And then my last one was stretch yourself, reach for the stars. Don't be afraid to go after that big, scary career goal, because this is not a dress rehearsal. We only have this. And I think there's been that, I don't know if it was a study or whatever, but typically the generalization is that men can be more comfortable with stretching themselves and going for job opportunities that they're only like maybe 10% qualified for, versus women tend to want to be at least 90% qualified for it, you know? And it's like, no, just stretch yourself. I think one of the good things about this great reshuffle, as I like to call it, instead of the great resignation, is I think employers are really trying to reevaluate and do things differently. And that includes maybe not judging candidates so much by their past, you know, like you must have 10 years of experience in this specific area. You know, I think that's starting to loosen up. And by you know, really showing your potential, you have to think about your brand again and showing your potential, how you can grow, because you know your past, I mean, tomorrow, there's always a new day tomorrow, you know, and what you achieve tomorrow can be so much more than what you've done so far. So if you really want to do that, so are you willing and ready to reach for more and stretch yourself?
And if you do stretch yourself and you get a big job, your career coach can obviously help you. Both Christine and I help people who've jumped up several positions to be able to work through those, so you do feel comfortable that you can achieve the results. Most likely, if you get hired for a much bigger position, you're actually ready, even if you don't feel like you are. And you just may need a little bit of brush up or a little bit of help in one area or another. And your career coach can help you do that. So don't be afraid to, again, for, as Christine said, reach for the stars, because you deserve to have a great career that you're going to be great at. So then my last tip is going to be flexible. And the reason I say this is I had a candidate who was really looking for like a VP of sales job, and she didn't get the VP of sales job at a company she really wanted. And she talked to the CEO and told them about all the things that she thought she could do for them. They actually hired her as a consultant. She did her consulting proposal. And at the end of the consulting proposal, they offered her $100,000 more in income, and they hired her as the CMO of the organization. She's still there now. She loves it, and she made a significant contribution to the organization. So she thought when she lost the job, as it came in second for the VP of sales role, that was it. And I encouraged her to move forward and talk to the CEO and see how she could apply her skills. So don't just take the first no or coming in second as there's no other alternatives. Keep your flexible mind hat on and think about, are there other ways that I can do this? And sometimes a client will offer you a job maybe as a consultant first, or to come in and fix a problem on a short-term basis, or maybe they're going to put you in terms of alliances or something like that. Think through the opportunity and discuss it with the company in a way that you can see if it could work for you to get to where you want to go. Just because the first offer doesn't look exactly like what you want doesn't mean that's where you need to stay. And if you can create a kind of career path from that to where you might want to go, you can open up a lot of other opportunities that may not have been available to you before.
Yeah, that's great, Darcy. That is so true, because you just, again, it's coming back with your value, how you can help. And the worst that they can say is no, you know, and what's so bad about that? And
well,
actually,
you're already at no, so you're really nothing to lose.
Yeah, you have nothing to lose. And it shows, and again, it's another way of standing out too, because how many people really do that? How many people go the extra mile? The extra mile is not crowded. So she went the extra mile by saying, well, I'd still like to help you, and this is how I could help. You know, if this works for you, fine. You know, it's like being at a restaurant, you know, do you want a cup of coffee or you don't want a cup of coffee? Okay, that's all right. No worries. So it's like it doesn't hurt to offer help, you know. So anyway, you reminded me too of something else. Getting back to stretching, growth doesn't happen inside the comfort zone. That's one of my phrases, and I've posted about that too. And it's like, we've got to stretch ourselves and be flexible, like what you were just saying. And your client, was a great example of that. So that's good. And if anything, I would say, and you brought this up too in your last point, that work with a career coach. That's our bonus. We already covered 10 tips, but our bonus tip is to work with a career coach. It doesn't have to be us, although we would love it if you would work with us. But I mean, there's some amazing career coaches out there, and it's really worth the investment in yourself. And I've worked with coaches before myself, and I continue to work with coaches. I have coaches that I'm working with right now. And I think you definitely get a great return on your investment. Darcy, did you want to add anything to that as well?
No, I just want to say that both Christine and I are really here to support you and help you achieve your own personal goals, because the reason you hire a career coach is for them to give you realistic feedback, to hold you accountable for your own results, and to help you stay on track so you don't lose perspective and waste time on things that aren't valuable. So we are hoping that you are feeling like your career coaching is going well, and that you're getting to where you want to go quickly and getting realistic feedback so that you can adjust your strategies to make sure that you are going to be successful in what you're trying to achieve. And we are here for you whenever you need it.
Yes. So anyway, what we'd like to do too is we'd like to do this again. So we definitely want to have a conversation again, but to sales and marketing leaders, especially, that because you're the ones that we work with the most, send us your questions that you have. Like, what questions do you want us to answer for you to help you in your careers and help you with your job search? So you can message both Darcy and I directly via LinkedIn messaging. So that totally works. And then I can also, Darcy, if you want, I can throw additional information in the comments, or we can throw that in the comments for our video here. But
Sure.
But yeah, so send us your questions, because like a month from now, we'll answer them, and then we can make it more interactive, and that way we'll let you know when we're doing it, and we can ask questions when we're live as well, or answer questions when we're live. So, all right, wonderful.
Have a great day, and good luck to all of you.
Yes, we do wish you the best, and we look forward to seeing you on LinkedIn and some other social media platforms as well. Take care, everybody.